lock her up.
Ahead on Sunrise, the high school principal pleading not guilty in the growing sex abuse investigation out of St. Helens.
And Oregon Congresswoman Lori Chavez-DeRemer says her family was targeted with a pipe bomb threat. She's one of several Trump administration nominees who were threatened this week. We have the latest.
And today is Thanksgiving, which means Thanksgiving food. But can your pets dig into that yummy spread? We'll break down which foods are safe. Your KGW News at Sunrise starts right now. Good morning and happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for joining us. I'm China Green. We're going to go right over to Rod Hill for a look at the weather and what you can expect today on your Thanksgiving.
Hey, good morning. Well, same weather pattern. This is day 3 of it now. We're starting off with dense fog areas on a low cloud deck that for many of us will never clear. We are completely dry out there, minus any mist or freezing fog spots. And the winds continue to be calm. Right now, the worst of the fog, shaded in white, is out around Troutdale, and there's another fog pocket out around Hillsboro. The fog down in Salem has been improving, but up and down I-5, low clouds seem to be solid across the area. Temperatures 31 in Sandy. There are freezing spots. Hillsboro was freezing, now 33. Estacada's 28. Silverton's freezing, and they're Salem. Good morning to you, 39. A reminder that on these nights where you have, on mornings where you have fog and you have freezing temperatures, you can get a surprising amount of iciness being laid down on surfaces from the freezing fog. So especially in the dark hours, if you're traveling this morning, keep that in mind. PDX, one of the warm spots at 41 degrees. We'll keep the clouds solid today, I think, in Portland, and end up in the mid-40s for high. And that is your Thanksgiving forecast.
Thank you, Ron. Multiple threats have been made against President-elect Donald Trump's transition team, including Oregon Congresswoman Lori Chavez-DeRemer. Last week, the president-elect nominated Chavez-DeRemer to be the new labor secretary pending Senate approval. Ashley Grams joins us now from the newsroom. Ashley, the Congresswoman posted about this threat yesterday.
She did, Jenna. In that post, Lori Chavez-DeRemer said her family was targeted with a pipe bomb threat on Tuesday night. She went on to thank the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office for their quick response and said her family is safe. The statement goes on to say this kind of violence harms not just the intended targets, but entire communities. It is an unacceptable way to express opposition and will not deter President Trump and the team he has assembled from doing the work on behalf of the American people. The Clackamas County Sheriff's Office confirmed the threat against Chavez-DeRemer and say the FBI is now investigating. Several other members of the Trump transition team also received threats, including Elsie Stefanik, Lee Zeldin, Brooke Rollins, and Matt Gaetz. In a statement, a spokesperson for the Trump team said these attacks ranged from bomb threats to swatting. The FBI here in Portland told KGW they take potential threats seriously and ask anyone to report anything they consider suspicious. China?
Ashley Grams, thank you for reporting us this morning. And it appears Oregon Democrats clinched a supermajority in Salem after flipping a Marion County House seat by a razor-thin margin. The Oregonian projecting House District 22 race for Democrat Leslie Munoz now leads incumbent Republican Tracy Kramer by 161 votes after Tuesday's deadline for ballot signature verification passed. Now that is outside the 0.2% margin that would require an automatic recount. And just so you know, anyone can request a recount, though they would have to pay for it themselves. The St. Helens High School principal, currently on leave, turned herself into authorities yesterday morning after she was indicted on criminal charges. She's accused of breaking the law by not reporting suspected abuse. Celine Stevens has the latest.
Wednesday morning, St. Helens High School principal Katie Wagner turned herself in to the Columbia County Sheriff's Office after being indicted by the county grand jury Tuesday.
I think it should have happened sooner.
Wednesday afternoon, Wagner maintained her innocence in the courtroom.
Your Honor, we'd like to enter at this point in time a not guilty plea, set this matter for a pretrial.
Wagner faces 4 misdemeanors and 2 felonies. Those include accusations that she unlawfully and knowingly withheld necessary physical care for the students at the school, according to the indictment. She was already on paid administrative leave. This came shortly after 2 teachers were arrested, accused of sexually abusing students. That includes choir teacher Eric Stearns. One parent says her daughter was in Stearns' class and he would often ask to hug her, give her prolonged hugs, and share personal information. She says her daughter reported it, but nothing happened.
She just said that Wagner literally said absolutely nothing, didn't even say a word, and then just kind of said, get to class.
The attorney with the DA's office requested that Wagner will not have any contact with the 2 arrested teachers, the alleged victims or their families, and she is prohibited from employment at any educational setting or one that requires mandatory reporting.
Lock her up.
My hope is that she goes to prison for her crimes, that she goes to prison for what she knew and didn't stop.
Celine Stevens, KGW News.
Wagner's next court date will be on January 22nd. In a statement, the school district told KGW that they have launched a third-party investigation to determine what happened and why, and are now quickly moving to appoint an acting principal. The Portland Japanese Garden wants to sell a piece of historic property near Forest Park in northwest Portland. The Garden's board announced yesterday that it would sell the plot of land just 2 years after they bought it from the Salvation Army. The property was meant to become the Garden's new Japan Institute to promote cultural understanding, but it was never completed due to rising construction costs. The announcement isn't the only change at the Garden. They are also looking for a new leader after its longtime CEO announced plans to retire in January. Before we get to Rod Hill, here's a live look at the Pioneer Square Park building. That is where Drew and I will be for the 40th annual tree lighting tomorrow night. So if you can't make it in person, join us on KGW Plus starting at 5:30, where we will be streaming the tree lighting live. You can also watch on KGW.com, the KGW News app, and on the KGW YouTube channel. And Rod Hill is saying that it's going to be dry and not windy.
Yeah, and in the 40s. So that's pretty comfortable, really, by our standards. And China's saying she's going to bundle up, so she'll be warm and toasty. It is a good time, you know, the music and the caroling, and the bricks are usually packed. So if you are going, be prepared for lots of people to be down there. Should be a great time. Here's a look at our completely dry 2-state area this morning. Radar not picking up anything not expected to today. Cascade passes are in good shape. I'll show them to you in a moment. We have low clouds. Either low clouds that are solid, that are hovering down low clouds, or we actually have fog on the ground. That's what we're dealing with this morning. 41 is one of the warmer spots in the region out at the airport along the Columbia. We've had freezing numbers out in the gorge. The Dow's right now 33. Fairly clear in Bend at 19 and Burns 18. More sunshine over the Cascades, out through the gorge, and also sunshine along the coast today expected, where temperatures are in the 30s this morning. So most areas are chilly. Here is the clean, dry pavement at Government Camp. 27 degrees, 24, clean and dry Santiam, and mostly clean and dry in 18 of Alama Pass. And again, sunshine expected over the Cascades today. There was no wind over the mountains at the Mount Hood resorts on yesterday, where a lot of people were up there skiing and boarding, and expect a similar situation today. All right, 30s to 40 out east, and then 40s to, there will be a few spots, especially along the beach, at 50 degrees this afternoon. The 7-day continues to be all dry. So on this Thanksgiving Day, we have the fog advisory up until 11 o'clock this morning, then improving visibility, but most of us will likely stay overcast, 46 with no wind. Similar deal tomorrow. Saturday's the first day it looks like, well, we have a good chance to clear out after morning fog. We'll see. Once we clear, eventually we'll get into a run of sunny days into the first part of next week, and that's your forecast.